Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. And for those of you who are new to my channel after discovering it or found it under a recommendation, welcome. I hope you all enjoying the holiday season so far. I know I am. Anyways, with 2025 coming to a close very soon, I thought I'd take time today to do a 2025 year in review vlog. Now, these are some of the events that I have happened to me over the course of this year, and I'm going to go over it with you, and also some main news stories that I think that was newsworthy and whatnot over the course of the year. Now, I won't do all news events of the year, but just some of it that I thought it was newsworthy for me. But if you want to check out all the newsworthy news stories and all that for 2025, watch the proper news channels and all that stuff. Anyways, we're going to begin with January. Not very much happened in January, but close to the end of January, on the 28th, my niece Erin celebrated her sweet 16th birthday. And of course, we had a little get-together here at the house for that. And of course, she had a main thing with her friends, so which was wonderful. In February, we had Groundhog Day. We're declared 6 more weeks of winter. 6 more weeks of winter fun for us that love the snow. We also had Valentine's Day. I also did my first Valentine's vlog too this year. I was supposed to do one in 2024, but I was sick, so I did it this year, and I'm going to do one again in February 2026, so make sure to keep an eye out for that. We also had Family Day in February, where we celebrated everything all family, which was pretty quiet for here for the most part, but what can you do when everybody else has their own things for Family Day and stuff like that. In March, my nephew Brady celebrated his milestone 10th birthday on March the 2nd. And we also had a little get-together here at the house as well. And after that, it was all quiet up until we reached St. Patrick's Day, where we celebrated everything Irish. And then, of course, the season of spring came along. Not very much quiet. It was all quiet in April and again in May, although in April we had Easter and that, which we celebrated as a family. Then in May, again, very quiet, not very much happening. In June, I celebrated my milestone 40th birthday, which was awesome. Didn't have a party or nothing like that, just a little bit of a quiet time. And then 2 days later, on June the 7th, my nephew Noah got married to the love of his life, Victoria, and we had a outdoor wedding of a century, and thankfully the weather cooperated long enough to have the wedding, because after the ceremony it poured down, rained so hard. But not to worry, we had the reception and the dance to follow indoors, which was better and awesome, and standing out there in the rain, getting all soaking wet. And then, and of course, in June we have prom and graduation season. So I congratulated the graduating class of 2025. If you want to catch up on that video on that, you can do so. And then we had summer. It was another hot and warm one. I'll discuss more on that in a little bit. And then at the end of June and into the 1st of July, we celebrated Canada Day. We did Canada Day fireworks up in Blackville on the 30th of June. My mom, dad, and I went up to that. I videoed that, and it's on my YouTube channel if you want to check that out. Also, the following day, we went up to the parade. And I missed out on the parade in 2024, so Mom and Dad promised me we'd do it this year, which we did, and I documented it. and it's on my YouTube channel as well if you want to check that out. It's got over 2,000 views, and that's a very much milestone for me because I never had a video that had over 2,000 views on YouTube before, and that's awesome. And I hope to get more views on all my YouTube videos as well too, so make sure to check them all out when you get time. Also in July, not very much happened. My sister Trish and her husband, my brother-in-law Justin, celebrated their birthdays. Nothing too biggie. And over the course of the summer, my dad and I went to a couple of car shows. One up in Blackville at the Blackville Park, and then the other one in town as part of the Miramichi Rock and Roll Festival. And I took some pics of that, and you can check them all out on my social media sites, which will be listed below under the description of this video, and all my vlogs. Well, not all of them, but in my main vlogs. Then in August, had our annual family reunion on my dad's side of the family, a 2-day event. It was wonderful, had a wonderful time. My dad and I went up to the Saturday portion, and then my mom and I went up to the Sunday portion. And not very much happened. Like, we had fun, had a wonderful time. And then at the end, and the Labor Day long weekend, we had our annual corned beef and cabbage. Again, on my dad's side of the family, we always have that before school starts in September, and it's always a wonderful thing. And speaking of September, we had a birthday party celebration for one of my uncles on my dad's side of the family who just turned 80 in September. So we were invited up to that, and Mom, Dad, and I were, and we had a wonderful blast up there. And then, of course, school started, and all the kids are back in school and that. And then, of course, we had Truth and Reconciliation Day at the end of September, which we remember all the residential school survivors and those who didn't make it home. And it happens each and every year at the end of September. In October, not much happened in the month of October, besides my sister Christina celebrated her birthday. And then we had Canadian Thanksgiving. And then not much happened after that until we got to Halloween. Oh, I should mention, too, Noah and Victoria's wedding wasn't the only wedding that happened in 2025. Some cousins of mine got married over the course of 2025. One in October, I believe, and then just recently on the 13th of December. Both of my dad's side of the family. Unfortunately, we weren't able to make them to both of those weddings. And then a friend of mine had a wedding too in October. Of course, didn't make it to that either, so we're divided. But 1 out of 4 weddings is good enough for me in my lifetime. But yeah, so just wanted to backtrack on that. In November, we had Remembrance Day. Veterans Day is what it's called in the U.S. And then this year marked 20 years since my granddad, Arthur Kugelman, passed away. My dad's dad. And yeah, very sad moment. Hard to stop and reflect. And then my dad had his birthday on 26th, which wrapped up the month of November. And then when we got into December, my dad had a procedure done on his jaw, as he had it's a hard word to pronounce, but if you hear the letters TMJ, then you'll know what I'm talking about. Or if not, you can go Google it. But it's a condition on his jaw where the nerves kind of join together and they kind of give off a soothing pain. And my dad had that condition now for over a decade. And then the time was come to get it done and over with and put it out of our lives once and for all. So he had the surgery on December the 2nd. and he had to spend a week in the hospital recovering and all that, and then he came home and continued on his recovery and that. What we thought would be a simple, easy procedure. There were two options. You get it done in a hospital, or right behind the ear and all that stuff, or there's a facility in Quebec that uses lasers. It's less painful, but my dad decided to go the hard route and got it done. But problem was, now he won't be able to do anything for the next few months, up until March at least, until he sees that doctor. He did that procedure in March, and then kind of see what happens from there. But on the 2nd of January, it will be a month since he had that procedure done. And recovery progress is going good. We're not pushing him to do all any hard stuff. We're just taking it one day at a time. And there are good days and bad days. And but anyway, hopefully we get him recover sooner rather than later. But that's just the way these things are when it comes to having these procedures like that. And we'll see what happens over the next number of months. We still got, like I said, January 2nd will be 1 month since he had that procedure, and we still got 2 more months to go. And then, of course, December 17th marked 19 years, excuse me, when my grandmother Gallen passed away. And that's my mom's mom. Her name is Pauline. She died 19 years ago on the 17th. And then another relative of mine, one of my uncles on my mom's side, the husband of one of my mom's sisters, passed away 6 years ago, also on the 17th. And it's hard to deal with the death of a loved one so close to Christmas. It is really tough, but it is what it is. And then, of course, we celebrated Christmas. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. We had Boxing Day here yesterday. As I'm recording this, today's the 27th. And now we're getting into New Year's in just a few days' time. So that's what happened to me in 2025. Now, newsworthy-wise, as I mentioned, we had a hot summer this past summer, and we had to deal with drought conditions through the month of August, September, October, November, and now here in December. And we're still in parts of New Brunswick still dealing with drought, and that's why the provincial government is asking all New Brunswickers to conserve water, especially here during the winter season, so the water supply can be replenished. And so we're doing our best to do our part to do all that. Now, of course, we had the worst wildfire season in the province ever compared to last year. 2025 was an awful year for wildfires. Fire season starts in the third Monday in April and goes all the way up until Halloween, October 31st. And of course, way before the season started, we had a few fires on the go, and then they continue on into the season, where it was quiet to start off, but then once it got warmer weather and then through August and into September and all the way into October, that's when the fire season just got worse and worse and worse. Most of the fires were started by the weather, of course. Lightning strikes from thunderstorms, drought, dry conditions, and low humidity. You know how it works. And most of the fires were also started by human activity too, as well. Don't forget. And then, of course, as a result of the dry conditions and drought and all that, there was a province-wide fire ban, and the woods were closed for a certain amount of time, and of course, people just didn't obey the rules, but some of them also disobeyed them. And of course, anyone caught burning during a fire ban could be fined big time, and if you're convicted of that, you could face jail time. So, and it wasn't just New Brunswick that was dealing with all of that. Every province in Canada was pretty well much dealing with it. Folks, I know you want to burn and have campfires and all that, but when a burn ban is in effect, you gotta listen to officials and do as you're told. I mean, when a burn ban is on, no fires of any kind allowed, period. And I hope when the 2026 wildfire season starts, you continue to obey the rules. Because if you don't, there's going to be very serious consequences. And the consequences are fines and possible jail time. So listen to officials, for God's sake. If a burn ban's in effect, obey the rules. Abide by all rules, regulations, and laws. Those days of doing whatever you want are over. Anyways, total wildfires burned in New Brunswick was 449, with 3,414.3 hectares burned. And even though fire season's over until April, there's still fires that are going to be occurring. So take it from me when I'm saying this, like, have some common sense. Use your instinct. Anyways, in sports wise, I love the sport of curling, and I love watching the main events throughout the curling season. How about Team Rachel Holman? My goodness, they're not only number one in Canada, but they're also number one in the world right now. And this year, Team Holman won the Scotties 2025, and then they win the World Championship as well on the women's side, which is great. Now, of course, 2026 Scotties are coming up at the end of January, and unfortunately, Team Holman is unable to defend their title because they're getting ready to compete in the Winter Olympics in February. So it's a bummer, but it is a rule for that. Also in curling, Team Brad Jacobs won the Brier in 2025, but they didn't win the World. And that was a bummer. But they too will be representing Canada at the Winter Olympics in February 2026 as well. And they will be competing and defending their title at the Brier in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador in March of 2026. So they'll get a chance to defend their title and hopefully compete in the Worlds again. But only the winner of the Brier and the Scotties Tournament of Hearts will represent Canada at the Worlds, just so you know. It was also a great year for Florida Panthers. They won their second Stanley Cup title back in June, beating the Edmonton Oilers yet again. So the back-to-back champions are looking to try to get into the playoffs again in 2026 and hopefully go for a three-peat. But we'll see what happens. Of course, I want to talk about Canadian swimming sensation Summer McIntosh. My goodness, she's doing things we could possibly imagine, and whenever we mention Summer McIntosh, she does Summer McIntosh things. When it comes to breaking records or getting medals. She is wonderful in the pool, and again this year, the Canadian press has named her Athlete of the Year. So, congrats to you, Summer. Can't wait to see what 2026 has in store for you. And of course, she's going to continue to chase records and getting medals. And she's getting prepared for the 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles coming up in 2028. So we're going to see how this one's going to go when we get there. But like I said, Summer McIntosh doing Summer McIntosh things, and it's awesome. and I give 2 thumbs up for that. And of course, we got to talk about the Toronto Blue Jays running the playoffs. My goodness, they win the AL East this year, and avoided the wild card game and played in the division series against the New York Yankees, beating the very best team in baseball, and then they go and face the Seattle Mariners, and they beat them in 7 games to advance to the World Series for the first time in 32 years. The last time the Blue Jays won the World Series, if you remember, was back in 1993, and that was after they won their first World Series in 1992. So they faced the Los Angeles Dodgers in the World Series, and it was so close. It was so close to trying to clinch the World Series on home turf, but in the end, the Dodgers win the World Series, their own back-to-back title. And in 2026, the Dodgers look to try and get to the World Series again and go for a three-peat. But we'll see how the Jays do this upcoming season. And of course, spring training is coming up very soon, folks. So hopefully you enjoy baseball spring training come February. But other than that, that's what my top things happened to me in 2025, and also some of my favorite newsworthy stories. And again, if you want to see the whole news stories from 2025, check every news channel that you can master, and some familiar news channels that you know and love. Anyways, that's it for my year in review special, or year in review vlog, whatever you want to call it. Stay tuned for my next vlog coming up in the new year, which will be my what I got for Christmas / what goals I'm going to try to accomplish in 2026. So keep an eye out for that. And again, I'm on social media, so make sure you check me out on the social media sites that I'm on, and let's be friends on there too as well. Anyways, again, hope you're enjoying the holiday season like I am, and my family and I wish all of you out there a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Hopefully 2026 will be a better year for you and the rest of the world. Until then, everybody, check back again next time for another vlog.